Hi, welcome to another vinyl show and tell. Thank you again for tuning in. So it's a finds video today and I've got some footage for you. Last weekend myself and my wife went for a weekend away in London. It has been quite a tradition for many years. What we do, we go around this time, and it is timed around the London November Record Fair, which takes place in Victoria. As I say, we've been doing it for many years. It used to be called the Music Mania Record Fair, but they've kind of scaled it down and now do it 4 times a year. But we always go up in November, make a weekend of it. On the Saturday, I will go off and do my thing. My wife goes off and does a bit of shopping in Oxford Street, so it all works out well, and then we meet together and continue the weekend together. So what I wanted to do was to show you what I got. I actually had a pretty good haul, so I'll try and get through all this as quickly as possible, so this video doesn't go on too long. But first of all, I wanted to show you a bit of footage of the actual fair itself, and just to see what you think. So over we go. So I'm here outside Victoria Station. It is just a short walk, so let's go. So here it is. Told you it wouldn't take long to get here. So I am actually quite early. Normally there's a queue forming. Queuing is just one of my favourite things in the world. But there doesn't seem to be actually that many people here yet, so I guess that's a good thing. We've got a lovely day for it. It's a beautiful setting round here actually. It's a very, very nice area. But right. Let's pop round, see what we got, see if there are anybody waiting. Oh yes, here we go. Right, let's join the queue. Be very patient and wait. Okay, so I'm almost done. I've been here for about an hour and 3/4, and it seems to be winding down before the 12 o'clock rush comes in, so we'll just have a little navigate around.
I might see him next weekend.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
I've never sat up there and sat up. There was one outside.
Right, and then once you start on the label,
So there we have it. Oh, thirsty work, all that record buying. Lovely. So there we have it. As said, it was petering out at that time. The actual fair itself has its kind of early bird opening at 10 o'clock in the morning. That runs until 12. You have to pay £10 to get in, which is fine, and then they have a £5 entrance from midday till 5 o'clock. But that was getting towards midday, so it would have filled up again very, very quickly. I have to say, as usual, I've found the prices there pretty fair. I think London gets a bad reputation in general, not just for fairs, just for shops, of being overpriced. I just don't think this is true at all. As I've said in a previous video, if I'm not going to get a fair price, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't return, and I wouldn't go back. But there's always a good load of variety and plenty of good stuff at fair prices. So let's show you what I got. So first up, we've got the second album by the Au Pairs. This is a lovely copy, absolutely beautiful vinyl. This is on a proper independent label called Chimera, and it's called Sense and Sensuality. I have to admit, I had to look at the label there because I forgot what it was called. Absolutely flawless vinyl. They're a great post-punk band. I've got their first album, which is absolutely superb. I haven't played this one yet. I don't know what it's like. Hopefully it will be of a similar vein and as good as the first one. Next up, we've got Cocteau Twins with their third album called Treasure, an original UK press on 4AD. I have already got this one. I bought it a few years, very, very cheap, but it doesn't come with this insert here. Being the nerd that I am, I had to have the insert. So there it is on 4AD. Again, very reasonable price, and now it's all totally complete, and it's in pretty good condition as well, so that's all good. Right, I don't really feel the need to say too much about this album. We all know what it is and who it's by. What's interesting here is that when I see this album in shops or at fairs, it's the prices are ridiculous. I think Pink Floyd are overpriced in general now, considering when I go through the racks I often see multiple copies of, say, Medal, which goes to show it's a very common album, and they are just always overpriced. This one I actually got for £22, and it's a better copy than the one I've got, which is actually quite scratched, to be honest with you. It's not the greatest, I've had it many years, but this one is a lot better. There's a couple of very small surface marks on it, but apart from that it looks barely played. The matrix numbers show it's a nice early pressing. It's got the original inners, so it's pretty presentable all round. So I thought for £22 that's actually quite reasonable. So Pink Floyd The Wall, in case you didn't know what that one was. I was glad to pick up this one. This one is the debut album by Colin Scott. Again, this one I've never played and never actually heard and haven't got round to playing yet. You have to remember I do have a backlog, so when I do these show and tells from fairs and shops, a lot of the time I can't really comment on the music. What interests me about this particular record is his backing band. He's basically got most of Genesis, Van der Graaf Generator, Yes, Rare Bird, Brinsley Swartz. All these musicians seem to be backing him, so they must have wanted him to sort of do well. Yeah, there's practically a who's who of backing on this one. I don't think it's a proggy album as such. It's more of a singer-songwriter folky vein. But it's on the United Artists label. It's an original UK press, and the disc itself could well be unplayed. It is absolutely, it's immaculate. It is absolutely immaculate. sometimes it amazes me how these records that are 50 years old can just be still in such immaculate condition. The cover's pretty good too. A little bit of rubbiness around there, which I might try and remove, but yeah, very pleased to have that one. Next up, I got 3 records from a stall which is normally there called Reborn Records. Reborn, they often appear at the London fairs, but sometimes I have seen them at Winchester and Southampton when I've been there as well. And it's always great when they're there because I never come away empty-handed. These were on offer at 3 for £30. Now, first up is 3 Musicians by Daddy Longlegs. Now, I already own this record and I paid quite a bit more than £10 for it. And I have to say, I have to comment on this record. Daddy Longlegs kind of get a bad reputation from the early 70s. They had an album called Oakdown Farm on Vertigo. And as for the Vertigo roster, it doesn't really get much popularity, and quite rightly so. It's a bit of a patchy album, really. However, they did they followed that up with 2 albums on Polydor, which get no kind of recognition at all. And these albums are far, far better than the one on Vertigo. This one is in immaculate condition. As I say, I've got it already, but for £10, this one could be even better. So I thought I had to pick it up. Fantastic record, as I say. Brilliant music. It's kind of lots of bluesy rock and roll, a little bit of jazz rock fusion in there, some acoustic ballads. It's a real mixed bag, but they're tremendous records. That one and the other one on Polydor, which is called Shifting Sounds, which is really rare. So there we go. And for £10, it's an absolute bargain. Really, this is kind of a £20 to £30 record, especially in this condition. So I was happy to pick up a possibly even better copy of this one. Next up in the 3 for £30, £10 each. John Mayall, The Blues Alone. I've got a few John Mayall albums, but I haven't got this one. Nice first pressing, looks in lovely condition on Ace of Clubs. That's with the large labels. A Decca subsidiary. Very, very nice indeed. And third off, the Third Ear Band's music from Macbeth. I've got this one again. I wanted an upgrade copy. To be fair though, the condition wasn't quite as great as I thought on this, but we'll see how it goes. It might clean up and play okay. For £10, it's fine. They're a very unique band, the Third Ear Band. Completely acoustic, almost completely acoustic. Kind of like sort of classical jazz with lots of cellos and oboes. Mostly instrumental, yeah, like nothing else you've ever heard. And this is a film soundtrack from Macbeth. As with most soundtracks I own, I haven't actually seen the film, so can't comment on it. That's original UK on Harvest. Here we go. I've got another album that's an upgrade copy. This is lovely. This is a brilliant record. This is by Chicken Shop, and it's called Accept, and it's on the Blue Horizon label. Original pressing. Comes with a Decca inner sleeve, this one. That shouldn't be there, so I'll probably match that with another Decca album that hasn't got one. Much better copy than the one I've got. They are a blues-based, sort of UK late 60s blues-based band, but this is from 1970, and they were very much experimenting with other styles there. They kind of go into a more sort of prog territory, singer-songwriter. Folky stuff, yeah, it's a bit, I find it a little bit more interesting than their earlier work, if I'm honest with you, although their earlier albums are very good. But cover's okay, there's a little bit of scuffing down there, but nothing too bad. But the actual disc itself looks immaculate, so I hope it plays as good as it looks. Another couple of Blue Horizons. I was really chuffed to get these. These are my first ever copies. I haven't got either of these, so they're both by Bacon Fat. I can't tell you much about the music apart from the fact it is blues based. They are an American band, so that's also on Blue Horizon. The disc on that one is absolutely beautiful. So that's their first record, and their second album called Tough Dude. Horizon again, very nice disc. I had a bit of a haggle for the pair of them, and I got them for a very, very fair price. Very friendly sellers. They were happy to do them. They actually had tons of Blue Horizon there, to be honest. I kind of wish I'd have sort of paid more attention, but I was, yeah, dead set on getting those two. So that's good. This was a great buy, and I hope it plays alright, I really do. This is the debut album by Camel. This is kind of classic prog rock. Organ, bass, drums, guitar with vocals. What's great about this one is something I thought I'd never own. It's a UK first press. You really, it's pressed by Decca. You really don't see many of these. The more common one, Decca pressings come with just a plain black label, and then very common, they are pressed by EMI with a kind of rainbow label later on in the 70s. These ones are so rare, and I did shell out a bit for it, but looking at the average selling costs on Discogs, I got it for a very, very good price considering what it can go for. I'm hoping it plays alright. It's definitely a VG plus, needs a clean, which is never a problem. Interestingly, inside the album, it looks like the previous owner has put some sort of scorecard and some kind of code of how many times they've played it. It's weird, there's all these little numbers and dates and things like that. So yeah, it's interesting that a log's been kept apparently of how many times it's been played, which to be fair is, looking at it, is not that much, so we could be in luck here. So fingers crossed for that one. That was a great find. Okay, finally from the fair, I've got one by a band that I've never owned anything by, and you might be shocked. So this is the MC5. Not an original UK. This is a second pressing from 1977, but it is immaculate. Again, the disc looks unplayed, and I thought it was a very, very decent deal. This one. Probably most of you know what the MC5 sound like. I have heard bits of them. They're effectively what you call a proto-punk band. Reissuing this in 1977 was probably quite a good idea in the UK, with punk in its heyday and, you know, riding high at the time. So I'm looking forward to doing this one. This is on the Butterfly label, Electra. Once again, it looks almost unplayed. So that's everything from the fair. I have to say I was pretty chuffed with what I've got. Definitely worth the effort and the journey. Couple of bonuses. The day prior to the record fair, on the Friday, we popped to Portobello Road in West London just for a little mooch about. There was a record store there, and I picked up a copy of Teenage Licks by Stone the Crows. This is an upgrade copy, very, very nice indeed. Lovely matte sleeve, original UK on Polydor. It also has the original Headhunters sleeve. You don't see many of these. They came with a lot of early 70s Polydor releases, but they seem to be very, very rare. It's not like the sort of Harvest or Vertigo ones where they can be pretty common. But it is an immaculate copy, and hopefully better than the one I've got, which doesn't play too well. So that was just £20. I actually saw plenty of copies of this at the fair the following day for £40, so it looks like I got a pretty good deal on this. So very happy with that. If you haven't, by the way, if you haven't heard Stone the Crows, well worth checking out. Heavy, bluesy, proggy, with great vocals by Maggie Bell. Absolutely great stuff. Really an overlooked band, that. After the record fair on the Saturday, I stopped for a little bit of liquid refreshment with my wife. I then decided that I wanted to go to another record fair, which was in Shepherd's Bush. So got the tube over there. A bit of an obstacle race, I have to say, but did do it. It's a bit busy on a Saturday afternoon in London. This record fair was nowhere near as big as the London one. It's free to get in. However, I'm glad I went because it was very, very quiet by about 2 o'clock on Saturday, and yeah, got a few bits. There are only 4 dealers there. Funny enough, one of them was the Portobello Road guy who I bought Stone the Crows from the following day, which was weird. But I've, yeah, got a couple of little bits and pieces. Well worth checking out, actually, if they do it again, if you're in Shepherd's Bush. So here we go. I've got Genesis Wind and Wuthering. If you watched my last video, I picked up a copy of this in Petersfield. But this one is even better, and it was £5. It's an original texture sleeve, really nice condition, and the record looks as good as unplayed. Again, it is a replacement copy. My first copy, I've now got 3 of them, if you've been keeping count, is a VG. It doesn't really play very well. So this is a lovely upgrade and just £5. These seem to be really, really going up in price now. I do see them going for as much as £15. So £5 suits me fine. Next one, I was pondering for ages over this one. This is Evolution by the Hollies. I got this, I did haggle this one down a bit. I got it for a very, very fair price. It's a mono UK press with the yellow and black Parlophone labels. Condition wise, I would say, let's put that up right. It looks to me to be a VG plus, but there's not a lot of spindle wear on it, so I don't think it's been played too much. There's a few little scuff marks on it, but I think it will play okay. So I've taken a punt on it. Hopefully it will be alright. Again, referring back to my last Petersfield video, I showed off another Hollies album that I picked up in that one, called Hollies Sing Hollies. Possibly with the worst cover you've ever seen. This one I think is much, much better. I mean, it's so fitting with the times, isn't it? It's one of 2 kind of psychedelic albums that they did. This one's from 1967. There's another one called Butterfly from 1968, which I've yet to get. But yeah, that looks really, really good. I'm very happy with that. I do hope it plays okay. Fingers crossed. And the final 2, no, sorry, it's final 3. We've got another Cocteau Twins. This one is their second album called Head Over Heels. This is a straight upgrade, very nice copy on 4AD. My copy I got cheap again years ago. It's VG. It plays alright, but it is quite scratched. So this one is much, much better and was a fair price. They do seem to be gaining a lot of popularity, the Cocteau Twins, of late. I keep hearing their sort of music on TV documentaries. It was even featured on a BBC comedy recently, which I was surprised to hear. It's got the original in it, so that's all good. Lovely upgrade. More on 4AD. This one's called Modern English. I can't comment too much on the music here. I've got a later album by Modern English, and it seems to be probably more commercial than what their earlier stuff is. I think their early stuff is quite gothy. Certainly would be in the post-punk category. Cover's a little bit worn, but the record, despite needing a good clean, is absolutely fine. So yeah, pleased to see that one in the wild. And then I had a quick look through a box of records that were selling for £1 only, and was quite surprised to see this. This is a new wave post-punk band called Fingerprints. There's a bit of cover wear on it, which I could probably mask up with a bit of black tape. But it surprises me that this was just £1. The record is absolutely fine. When you consider what was in amongst it, it was kind of battered albums by other artists and just almost like sort of charity shop fodder. But this one, I mean, it never goes for a fortune. I think on Discogs really you're looking at between sort of £6 and £10. But yeah, I'm curious to know why they put it in the pound box, because I think at a record fair you could have easily got a tenner for that. It's funny that it just doesn't fetch the money that other Virgin artists do around the time. You think, you know, bands like Magazine, XTC, Devo, they sell for 15, 20, 25 quid, but Fingerprints not so much. But it's not often I pick up records in this day and age for £1, so very happy. So a great weekend was had. I really do recommend the London Record Fair. It is worth having the sort of pilgrimage there. There's a lot of collectibles, plenty of stalls, and it is a pretty good friendly atmosphere. Likewise really with the Shepherd's Bush Record Fair as well. The company that runs it are called, I think it's called Soundbite, and I believe they also do ones in Chiswick and Wimbledon, possibly Ealing as well. Very, very small, but ultimately they're free to get in, and they're nice and quiet, and it is just very, very friendly. So anyway, that is all from me for now. I will be back with other videos. Don't forget, if you like what you see, I'd love to hear from you. Please like, please subscribe and all that. And I'll see you soon in another video. Take care and thanks for watching.